Hello and welcome to episode 145 of the 77 Club. Harry, start with the socials.
Wall 77 Club on Facebook and Instagram, at 77 Club Podcast on Twitter, Spotify, YouTube, iTunes. Please subscribe and tell a friend.
Dan Bayliss is here.
Hello, Wolves fans.
And Jack Williams.
All right, chaps.
And Harry, I believe this is the first time that the full episode is going to be available on YouTube.
Yes, so don't swear, Bayliss, and we'll be fine.
Excellent. We don't get demonetised.
Inevitable, isn't it?
Which means if you do watch on YouTube, you'll get to see my brilliant background, which Harry is a huge advocate of, aren't you, Harry? You love the background.
It's just weird how it wraps around your head. I don't know what's going on with it. But
yeah,
anyway.
Misses. Anyway. Well, we'll start then with the 0-0 draw against Aston Villa. Harry, it was a pretty dour game. Same problems, isn't it? Poor first half, followed by a much better second half.
Yeah, story of our season. We were a terrible first half, and we're not surprised by it anymore, are we? It's the same old. They smashed the woodwork a couple of times. We were very lucky to go 0-0, but then the cliche is game of two halves, like you just said, and we kind of probably could have won it. Sace missed an open goal from about a yard out. I think the ball ended up in small leaf after it flew out the stadium. And yeah, Cody again, our main threat, and we might have to start putting him up front. But they had a good chance right at the end too. So on the whole run of play, I think a draw was fair, but either team probably could have won it, to be honest. But boring, if you ask me.
Comes something Bayliss, isn't it, when the best two chances of the game really fall to Connor Cody. And to be fair to him, he's not a striker. He's not really a defender. But his finishing just was thwarted by as good Martinez was.
Oh, he hit the post, didn't he? Wasn't the keeper that saved the header? He hit the bottom.
Yeah,
of the
I think he tipped it onto the post to keep it in the it went across goal.
It was. You're not going to get any closer than that. I'd say the reactions needed to get it in. If he'd have just thrown himself at the line, he'd have stood a better chance. But it's just one of them. It's not a horror miss because you've got a millisecond to react to it. I just thought.
Rodan, look at time. Oh, sorry, go on.
No, he's gone.
It just keeps happening. We are just so bad for 25, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Jack, a bit of a wake-up call, wasn't it, in the first couple of minutes of the game, really, hitting the woodwork twice, Villa, and you just think could easily have been 2-0 down.
It was just really poor again, wasn't it? And I don't know what's going on. I know Cody was questioned about it after the game, and you're just thinking it's just happening too frequently now to be a coincidence. There's something just not right. There's no way that the same group of players can be so poor first half and then just come out the second half and just look a lot better. And it's kind of becoming a habit. And once you're in a habit, everyone knows it's really hard to break out of it. And I don't know whether it's partly that or partly mentality, but it's just not good enough because Villa could have easily, been one or two goals outside of half time. We couldn't have complained, really. We got the warning shot, which was a great strike from Watkins, and Patricio beaten, really, but luckily it just goes up and over. But still, it just doesn't improve. And like the passing from the defence, the passing from the midfield, just loose balls, and it was just not good enough again. The whole standard of the first half. It seemed like Neto was the only one who actually cared. Probably the first half, it was that bad. And then second half a lot better, but can you really excuse having the two chances that we did and scoring neither of them? Probably not, really. So if we'd have lost that game, I don't think you could really complain, because if you don't score with those chances, then you've just got to point your finger at yourself. But it was a weird game. I think I agree with Harry. I think a point overall was probably fair, but it's our own fault that we didn't nick it.
Harry, do you think one of the reasons may be that when you're working with a 19-man squad, which I think we can all agree isn't working, and to be honest, not really an advocate of it, even at the best of times. But when you haven't got that competition play to injury, do you think that's why we're having such slow starts to games? Because players know they're not going to get dropped, and you're almost only going to get dislodged from the side if something does happen in the second half.
Maybe, because we only brought one sub on again. Was it Fabio we brought on? And
yeah.
I don't know. I don't think you can just put it down to a small squad, because it's been like that for a while. Or maybe you could, but I think it's tactically. But even Nuno comes out, doesn't he, and says, I'm not sure why it's happening. So that's a worry for him to say that. I also just want to say, we probably should have won this game because I didn't realise, like, they had Grealish out, obviously, they had Cash out as a starter, that El Ghazi who scored the penalty, I think. Like, we should have really beat them. They're struggling. They're probably in worse form than us going into the game. Yeah, it was a shocking game, and it was almost like both teams just didn't want to lose for large majorities of the game, which is mad, really. And it didn't really have that derby feel to it. And our season's drying up slowly, isn't it? And I know they can still push on towards Europe, but yeah, it was just a boring game, and there weren't much to say after. And it's quite hard to do a podcast now, isn't it? Because there ain't much to dissect from it apart from Sace missing an absolute sitter, really.
Bayliss, where did it all go wrong? I mean, it's finishing one week, it's maybe not trying as hard the next week. We've got players in there that are certainly talented, but we mentioned it last week saying that Wolves seem to be that team full of players that are undroppable without actually doing anything to merit them being in there. And I think you did make the point to the group while we were watching the game, saying that Dendoncker deserves to be in there, but in no way is that man a defender at the moment.
No, he's definitely not a defender, is he? God, doesn't take a football genius to work that out. He's been all over the place for 2 games in a row, but we're filling in with what we can at the moment by the looks of things. Bolly isn't quite there. We're just void of ideas. We are void of creativity. Unless Adama does something absolutely outrageous or Neto runs half the length of the pitch, you can't see where Wolves are going to open a team up. You can't see us just breaking someone down completely and destroying them. I said it last week. I think we're a bit thick. I think
it's a great point.
There is a cognitive issue with how Wolves are playing their football. There is no style or flow or technique to how Wolves are going about their business at the moment. And at the end of the day, that side of football comes from the brain, not just the feet. You have to think about how you're building as a creative player in oneself. You can't just go and do it. And I don't know, I haven't seen Neves ping a ball into space and we've got around the back of a team or, played a nice little 1-2 and opened up a gap in the defence for ages. It's distressing to watch. It might just be that Jimenez is missing and that's what they all focused around, but it seems a bit of a weak excuse.
I think it's when Raul Jimenez was with us at the beginning of the season, we were still bored to tears, weren't we? Even though he was scoring a few goals, we were grinding out 1-0 wins. It was still the same. So you can't really just blame it on Jimenez being out. Yes, we'd probably be a bit higher up just because of his goals, because he scores goals out of nothing, doesn't he? We weren't creating much, but he scores half chances, which Fabio and Willian Jose can't do. So, yeah, I think it's just right this season off, isn't it? And hopefully we can improve a lot. And I think there's got to be a lot of signings coming in the summer, judging on how this season's gone. It's mad that we're mid-table, really.
Yeah, that side doesn't look like it can turn itself into a creative footballing team that, used to turn footballing team. We want to play on the break. That's what Wolves have said, did traditionally, and now we're trying to play possession football.
Thing is,
I can't see us as a possession football team.
It was October, obviously, that Raul got injured, and it's now March, and he's still our second highest goal scorer with 4 goals.
Brilliant.
Doesn't that? I mean, Harry, you say, maybe Raul would have scored a few more goals. Neto and Neves on 5 goals each. Jimenez is on 4 goals. They're chalk and cheese, aren't they? But the one thing I was going to say, I don't know if you saw this, Jack, and it's something that seems to be, I'm noticing more and more every single week, not only how much we're missing Raul, but also looking back, how much Raul didn't lose the ball. And I can think to so many times over the last couple of seasons where he's got himself out of a situation and then managed to get that pass off. And we don't have anybody that can do that anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I think you probably appreciate Raul even more when he's not there, and we've had to play without him for a long period of time. I think we said this last week when talking about Willian Jose and Fabio Silva, actually, to an extent, is that they get a lot. Obviously, they both had a lot of criticism since coming in, but it's because they've got big boots to fill, and they're never going to probably have neither of them probably have the ability or the sort of work rate as Raul does. So it's kind of difficult, because I was watching the game the other day, though I was still felt a little bit for Willian Jose, because it's all right saying, he hasn't done enough, he hasn't scored. But what's the service? Where's the service? Every time we even out of open play, every time we get the ball, let's say it goes down a channel and there's a usually a poor cross by Traore looped into the box when there's 3 defenders and 1 striker in there. So I don't know what really he's expected to do, and that's if we even get a cross away. And if you think the 2 chances that we actually had against Villa, where we looked like scoring, were from set pieces and we had bodies in the box. So we put bodies in the box so we actually have a chance of scoring. But the rest of the game, it's just basically him on its own, or, Neto running to the corner because he's broke and then looking up and there's nobody there because no one's broke as fast as him.
One thing I have to say, Jack, off the back of that, lumping balls into the box, the one thing we saw when we signed Willian Jose, looking back at his best goals compilation on the YouTube, he scored great headed goals, like absolute storming headed goals. I haven't seen him put a head on one in the box yet.
He's never there, is he?
He did have that one header that he should have scored. I think was it in the first game? I can't remember. But I think it's just going back to basics now. We're not scoring goals. It's looking very hard for us to score from open play. And I don't want to go back to saying we need to do 4 at the back, but maybe we just need to not just play 1 striker. Maybe play 2 strikers and see what happens. Maybe Jose and Silva
played 8, we wouldn't
try them together. But there's got to be something got to give. And I agree, I think the midfield's been weak as well. Dendoncker was just giving the ball away first half against Villa, I thought, as well. Lots of lacklustre performances and very little creative, but we can't just be relying on either getting a set piece and hoping that when we finally manage to play a short corner right, we're going to score, or just breaking with pace and then have options.
Harry, I thought Fabio looked better. I think he's getting there very, very slowly. Obviously, his age and the price tag, you've got to take it all into account. But you can see that, Bayliss is talking about footballing brains. I think he certainly does have one of those.
Yeah, he's looked better than Willian Jose. Oh, someone call the police. He looks better than... Anyone hear that, or is it just me? Anyway, yeah, he looks better than Willian. He looks better than Willian Jose at the moment. The last few games, obviously, Jose didn't even feature against City, but he's come on. I think we mentioned last week or the week before. There's a bit less pressure on him when he comes off the bench, isn't there? He's full of energy. He can go on, run around like a Duracell bunny and try and do stuff. But that's the thing. He's still not really doing anything in terms of like scoring. So. It's still way too early for Fabio. We called it from the off as soon as he signed. We knew the price tag, and I think all Wolves fans knew really that he was going to get a lot of criticism unless he got off to an absolute flyer and scored loads of goals. So we're yet to see what Fabio's properly going to be like until it's a few years down the line, and I think we might see him go out on loan in the summer as well. I think.
Be interesting. I think we're going to have a talk about that later in terms of who will stay and who will go. Let's have a man of the match, if there was one, starting with Jack.
I think, like I said, just Neto was the only one who probably looked like he cared. He had that really good run, didn't he? And actually had a shot on target, which were, few and far between. So either him or Patricio, really. And that's it,
yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Bayliss?
Neto obviously had a decent performance on the whole. I thought Traore caused him some problems. We just can't do anything with it in the middle. I thought he actually did pretty well. I can't give him much stick for the game. First half he disappeared, but the whole team were crap. So there's not a lot of good performances out there to talk about, are there? Really, that's half the problem. So I'm going to go with Traore.
Harry?
I agree with. I probably would have said Neto originally, but I'm going to actually say Cody. Although he missed that chance, he was in the box twice, had that header off the post that went across what we just mentioned, and kept a clean sheet. And at the moment, he's our only goal threat. So let's give him a little shout out and say Cody.
Excellent. Right, okay, now, if you are listening to the podcast, you'll be able to hear the away perspective next. Let's get that. If you're watching on YouTube, I believe the away perspective will be uploaded separately. So go and watch that, and we'll meet you back here. Right, okay. So, we're playing Liverpool in, I think, their worst ever run of form. It's certainly, I think, overall the worst that they've been through. And I swear I did hear a stat the other day, just mentioning the way perspective there, that the last time they lost 6 games at home, they got relegated. That's what I heard. But I don't know if that's, or maybe very, very low down the league, because I don't know if Liverpool have ever been relegated. Maybe it was a false stat, fake news. Anyway, Harry, what's the starting 11 looking like for the game at Molineux on Monday night football?
I think it'd be the same. Unless Bolly's fit, so I've got a bit of ice in my mouth. Unless Bolly's fit, and he'll come back in defence because we've got 3 midfielders there at the moment, well, natural midfielders. But yeah, as you were, I think the only problem we've got going into this one is actually we're playing at home. I'd rather play them at Anfield at the moment. How many they lost now?
It's guaranteed 3 points at the moment.
Yeah, exactly.
3 points at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. And I watched the Fulham game, and to be honest, I thought Fulham did really well. But Liverpool, Jesus Christ, they look bad. And I know they play at time of recording, they do play tonight. So it'll be interesting to see how they get on, and hopefully it takes it out of them a bit. But it's weird for us, isn't it? Because getting up for the game, really, it's just going to be so hard for players to get motivated now. I know we're playing Liverpool. It'd be nice to beat them. But if we win, we go 6 points behind Liverpool, which is pretty mad considering they were champions last year. So, yeah, it's going to be a tough game. I hope we're not the team. I saw all the jokes going around on Twitter. All the Wolves fans were like, Liverpool in really bad form? Who do you get up to get them back on form? It's Wolves, which is so true, isn't it? They'll probably end up dicking us.
Just trying to lift everybody's spirits there. Bayliss, I mean, it is going to be the return to Molineux of Diogo Jota by all accounts. And do you have faith in Dendoncker keeping in? And do you have faith in Dendoncker keeping in quiet? That's the question, isn't it?
This is absolutely written in the stars. Jota hat-trick, 3 or 4-0, 4-1. It's just going to happen. It's just classic Wolves. We will capitulate. If they get 1 or 2 in the first half, which is inevitable because we don't even turn up in the first half, we'll try and fight back, get a goal, and they'll finish us off 80 minutes on. So 3-1, 4-1. It's just happening. We're not good enough to compete. Even though Fulham went there, had to really work hard and fight and produce a result.
They went for it, man. They went for it. It was really refreshing to watch. It's so weird seeing a team go for it that are lower down. I wish we'd do that.
Because I don't know why Wolves went in for Lookman.
Do it at the moment.
Great player. Jack, can you fill us with any confidence?
No, well, just what Harry said then. Just what Harry said then. Fulham went and they gave a go at them. But what we'll do is rather than looking at the form and looking at the injuries Liverpool have got or whatever, we'll just look at, it's Liverpool. We'll better play 5 at the back and just not attack first half. And hopefully we can score a goal in the second half and we'll lose 4-1 or something like that. So, no.
And what are the chances of scoring a goal in any half?
Well, they probably increase a lot with every shot you have. Or every chance you create. I don't think many teams go and win 3-0 when they say, right, the game plan today is 11 behind the ball and no touches in the opponent's box, please, guys. We'll try and get a 0-0.
It's difficult, isn't it?
Did you all see the scattergraph that's been doing the rounds this week on the social media platforms? No. Basically, a scattergraph 2-axis with basically the amount of goals teams create and the amount that you concede. So you can either be good and exciting, which means lots conceded, or shit and boring, which is obviously lots conceded, not many scored. Wolves are just terrible. We are us and Sheffield United are so far down the one end compared to everybody else.
It's mad, isn't it? Because the table just doesn't read like that at the moment.
No,
I mean, I'm glad that we've got the points on the board that we have.
But
yeah, it is weird, isn't it? Where we are, because that stat of us going 1-0 down. How many games this year? It's been
21.
How do we do it? It's so weird because, and obviously us watching it as fans, we haven't been entertained at all. So it's weird, really.
That's a great point, Harry. Actually, can you remember being entertained this season?
Probably the Palace game at home when Ait-Nouri scored in his debut. I remember thinking, but apart from Arsenal
away, it's very entertaining.
Even
though first game season.
We need to be really careful though, because if we carry this shit on into next season, and keep conceding, we're not going to be as lucky as to finish halfway up the league or get points on the board early, because we'd be dragged into a relegation battle. So you've got to sort it out in the summer. It can't just be something that continues on. We can't just give every team a 1-goal head start regardless, just out of our own. Speaking about earlier, it's just in our heads. It's in our heads that we've got to.
I also think it's the way we defend. The amount of points we throw away very poorly.
And gain though,
Brighton. We just waste.
How have we got 35 points? Because we have literally just sat back most of the year, apart from when we went to 4 at the back and conceded shitload of goals for a spell.
Because we have the odd good second half, don't we?
That's it.
We're great. Southampton away, we were great. Chelsea, fantastic.
Yeah.
Rui Patricio has 8 clean sheets this season.
So the defence is working at times,
It's
although we've had
incredible, isn't
howlers. We have had howlers though. We have.
Oh,
It's weird. Yeah.
But it's mad, isn't it, to have that sort of record of conceding first, but then also having 8 clean sheets. It's mad, isn't it? You know, it really is all on the.
And we've only been dicked about 3 times. Like West Ham, City scored 4. Is there any other times we've been smashed?
Liverpool,
yeah.
Turn fixture.
Cody game
It's starting to build up now.
Yeah, but the thing is, you think about, and I've said this a few times, thinking about it since we come up the first 2 seasons. How many times we get dicked?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then suddenly this season we've been like shipping goals in a few games. Like West Ham away was just a joke. Liverpool away, well, Cody just gave him a goal, didn't he, as well? We should probably do the same again on Monday night. So
is it time to say that
it's happened? There needs to be a complete refresh because we risk going backwards rather than forward.
Is it time to fairly say that we have the Porto Pulis?
Oh, don't know. Just as Albion fans in it. So
the thing is, Harry, we don't concede many and we don't score many. That's basically what the Pulis' game plan was for every game he played.
I think in previous seasons, like we'd always been solid, so it's quite weird to see Wolves have howlers apart from when John Ruddy's in goal, who's not going to be with us next year apparently. That's the news coming out. He might be leaving us at the end of the year.
We'll talk about that.
I will cry many tears. But no, but we don't do many howlers really, but this season it feels like we've done loads, doesn't it? Like that game against Brighton away when we were 3-1 up and ended up 3-3, things like that. So it's just strange. It's been a strange season all round. Weird.
Last second
one I saw. Oh, go on.
Just saying, absolute howlers. Last second away at Man United, absolutely fine all game.
And
get a result.
Was late,
let one ball bounce over your head.
That was unfortunate though. That was a deflection as well.
Yeah,
but the fact the ball
we defended really well,
bounced, and it's just but you can't be good for 89 minutes for a football game. You'll lose.
I'd be really happy if we were good for 89 minutes for a football game these days.
Better than 8 or 9 minutes, isn't it?
Not against these decent teams. It's like Man City when we lost 4-1. Wolves were great for 70, 80 minutes. But
really? First half, it was shit.
Second City
I think that is 7 or 8 minutes after Cody scored.
City got a sniff. No, but we defended well and we did our job. We did our job. But the second City got a sniff, put us to bed, destroyed.
I reckon somebody could probably do a really funny like compilation video of like the howling mistakes that we've made this season. So like you've got Coders against Liverpool, Otasawi giving the ball away against Man City.
Yeah.
His miss as well against
Brighton.
There was a few howlers against West Ham as well early on the season. We were shocking.
Coutinho's penalty against Brighton.
Yeah. Question, Harry. I saw this on, I think it's Facebook. Someone said, why do we not just put, when we're defending a corner, put Traore on the halfway line? Why don't we do that?
Yeah, that's a great shout, because if it gets cleared, he's onto it like Shergar, don't you? So, yeah, I can't answer that.
Hang on. Harry is just using an analogy properly. I cannot believe it. I cannot believe it.
A racehorse.
He is actually correctly said something that makes sense when he's trying to explain it. Brilliant.
Cheltenham next week as well.
How long does that take? 145 episodes. Incredible. Let's do a score prediction, Jack.
3-0 Liverpool.
Bayliss.
4-1 Liverpool.
Harry, 5-1 Liverpool?
Nah, I'm fed up of being optimistic. I've been optimistic the last few weeks. I'm going like 3-0 Liverpool, yeah.
3-0 Liverpool. I'm, of course, going 2-1 Liverpool. Let's get your latest betting odds and ticket news.
2-1 Liverpool?
Wolves, sorry. 2-1 Wolves.
I was going to say, you never back.
Never back us to lose.
Hello, betting fans. It's interesting reading, and this is really sad because we've only got one Wolves win in 4 results here. Oh, God.
Is that reflected in the odds?
Yeah.
Yeah.
3-0 Liverpool, Jota to score the first goal, 40-1.
Get your money on.
That's the one.
4-1 Liverpool, Mane first goal, 110-1. Neto to score first, 2-1 Wolves, 66-1.
That's quite
and
short.
Everybody's favourite, Nelson Semedo to score first, a 1-1 draw.
500-1.
325-1.
325-1. Well, there you go.
One day it'll happen.
Right. Just wait a minute. Jack has some ticket news. My God, this is huge.
There is ticket news, but it is virtual ticket news.
Damn it.
So not real tickets. And I think lot of people have probably seen, but Wolves are doing a buy a virtual ticket campaign for the Liverpool game on Monday night. £20 a ticket, I believe, and the proceeds go towards the Wolves Foundation. So if you want to donate to that.
Sorry, Chad, do you know, have they said anything about next season tickets and stuff? Does anyone know what might happen?
No.
I don't even know where my card is. I've lost my...
I've got your card.
I'm assuming
that's why I've lost it then.
I'm assuming they'll just offer us our seat again, but for a full price, no early birds, obviously.
We still remember we've still got a couple of games rolled over from the last season that they owe us for, so those should be taken off. So I think there was 3 or 4 home games left, wasn't there? There's also some of you have probably got credit for the Olympiacos game, which never happened. So that's put towards our next European football game, which will be in about 20, 40 years.
You can send the kids to that.
So yeah, just keep an eye out, because there's a few things that you have to just be careful about. But I'm sure when they do release ticket information, they'll take that into account. There's been no news about whether the Premier League are letting fans in for that last game, has there? Because I personally said I don't think they should. Nah. But whether Wolves will or not, because they seem keen on it, Wolves did, but it seems a bit weird to just have a few thousand in for the last game.
There was media talk, complete paper talk, of them pushing back the last 2 fixtures to make sure every team got a home game with fans.
Just leave it, innit, till next year.
Just leave it and write it off, man. I'd rather just go to a full Molyneux with 30,000 people rather than 10,000 and have to wear a mask and can't kiss you all.
Yeah.
It is.
Oh,
it would be good. I agree with Jack. First one back, August, still nice weather, 3 o'clock Saturday.
Yeah, that's the best, because the first one back, it'll be like a Saturday friendly against Crewe, and it'll be 30,000 people there. We're just desperate to have a football match.
They need to do that. If anyone from Wolves listens to this, please
with the tickets for this game, with their virtual tickets, can you print them off still? Because I've got the idea, I can print it off at home, go out the front door, shut the door, realise I forgot my keys, can't get in and miss a game. But it would have given the idea that I was going to a game. Excellent. Right, let's move on to something else I want to talk about, because it's sort of a milestone of games left, 10 games to go. So let's just go through the squad, and I'll go through what was the last match day squad, because I think everyone else is in there is probably going to be okay pretty much. I'll go through it, Harry, starting with you, and then let's go around with each player. Patricio, I'm guessing everybody is sort of on the side of keeping Patricio.
Oh yeah, he's got a few more years left in him. Goalkeepers last longer, don't they? Much longer.
33? 34?
Good question. I don't know. Mid-30s, yeah.
He's one of the few players in the squad who I think nobody really has any question marks over at the moment.
Yeah. Let's have a look. Semedo.
Yeah.
He'll be staying, yeah. He'll be staying.
He's only going to get better, and he has got better.
I just think there's a hell of a lot better in the market. If you're going to be buying players, then you might as well upgrade where you can, where you know there are frailties. Upgrade.
So. But do you think keep though rather than sell?
We won't get the money back for him, will we? So
good backup option potentially to sit on the bench. I mean, Dendoncker, Jack, what do you reckon?
I really like Dendoncker, but I prefer him playing in midfield, if you're honest.
Yeah. Another one is backup, though. Another one is backup, I'd say, Dendoncker.
Yeah, but I like Dendoncker, and the results, we always tend to get better results on average when he plays, but definitely when he plays in midfield I think he should be playing with Neves or Moutinho, and play a centre-back at centre-back.
I know he should be playing instead of Moutinho.
Yeah, fine, yeah.
Cody.
Yeah, he's part of the furniture now, isn't he? You won't be able to bloody throw him out.
Yeah, but we need competition.
He's the sacred cow, unfortunately.
Sace.
Again, back up, yeah. You can play all positions, but we need better, don't we? We need people to be ahead of like Dendoncker and Sace, and then be on the bench, so we've got a strong bench for them to bring on.
Johnny, first name on the team sheet, isn't he?
Oh, yeah. Johnny's the man.
Yeah. Especially when he gets back to full fitness, yeah.
Who was that, sorry? Neves. Yeah, Neves is probably... Neves and Moutinho, if someone put a gun to my head and said, throw one in the bin, I'd throw Moutinho in the bin at the moment. I think Neves is the
one that's 10 years older.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and just on form as well, though.
Well, yeah, I agree.
I mean, but the thing that worries you about Neves, though, is that You remember when like the ball used to bounce to him at the top of the box, and you think he's going to score here, and now it's the North Bank clock.
We'd be ducking if we was in the stands, wouldn't we? Now we'd be on
free shooting at the South Bank.
Yeah. So it's kind of like I don't think he's got better in the last 2 years. I think he's either stagnated or got slightly worse. But he should still be kept in the squad.
What if someone came in and offered 50 million?
Yeah, it's in a bit.
Getting the bin with Moutinho. Moutinho, I think put him on the coaching staff. Really,
I don't mind him being in the squad, but I don't think he should be starting because when we need to hold out for a game and he's got 15 minutes in his legs, bring him on. But it's a case of, do you want to be paying him $100,000 a week to do that?
I feel bad.
I think he'd definitely get another season out of him. But
this is one of the true great European centre midfielders.
Yeah, but Father Time waits for no man, Bayless.
In the winter of his career. And he's slightly starting to show signs, but he still shows signs of absolute brilliance as well. So
just not lately though. But I'm not saying bin him off or anything. I'm quite happy to keep him around, but he shouldn't be our main starting option given his age.
Neto?
Oh, we got to try and keep him, man. It's going to be.
I was going to say that's going to be the main thing, isn't it? I mean, I imagine some sort of big offer will come in from a top 6,
and I think he'll want to go as well. I think he's got the personality. He's adventurous. Yeah, he wants to be at the top, and I don't. If he knows Liverpool or City or whatever come sniffing, I think he'll throw his toys out the pram.
Nuno could say to him, "Come and have another season with us, and you play every game rather than go to Man City and play 1 in 3."
Yeah, but does he want to be playing a team that sits back for 80 minutes and then he has to run around like a headless chicken? Yeah, but he's just chasing everything at the moment, isn't he? Going on 75-yard runs just try and create his own chance. So
we're thinking keep Silva. Where would you send him on loan? Would you send him on loan to a promoted Premier League side?
Get him back. I mean, ideally, it'd be good to keep him in England, wouldn't it? But I'd probably send him back to home wherever.
They send him back. Oh, right. Okay. Yeah,
I'd want him in the Premier League. Send him to
Premier
Norwich.
League. No,
no one's going to want him. I don't think
League One.
No,
surely.
I'd be shocked if we loan him out. I don't think it'll happen. I think he's going to still be sticking around the squad. He's a player that you can put on your bench, and he knows that he's not expected to be starting right now. So it kind of makes sense, I think, to keep him around.
But do they only get better by playing? Like, that's the thing.
Playing the under 23s.
I think you've got to be
that's
playing.
different worlds. You can be the best player on earth in the under 23s and be nowhere near the first team.
On that point, actually, I know it's a little bit of a tangent. Do you think they should introduce something like they have in Italy, and I think they do it in Spain, or they always used to, where they had the B teams that competed in the league as well?
Oh no, hate it.
In the league structure.
No, I always found it weird when the cup where they let the under 23s enter the League 1 and 2 cup. I hated that.
Cup.
That didn't feel right to me. I didn't like that.
There'd be nothing worse than being a fan of a club in League 1 and then having to go away to Man City's second ground next to the stadium with 3 people in it, and then you're away.
All that's doing is helping the club at the top stay at the top, because you're outplaying the teams in the leagues below you with your kids.
Man City do have 11 that could comfortably stay in the Premier League that don't get in their team.
Oh, easy, yeah.
Be a good opportunity for those lower league sides to see some decent. I'm going to say, I don't want to disrespect the lower leagues, but the chances are that you're going to see some better players, aren't you? Players that aren't contributing at the moment. Is Hoover ready? Would you keep him?
I'd probably loan him. I don't think he's been that good.
Loaned to the Championship.
Yeah, he's not been that good, has he? Really?
I don't think he should. No, I think he needs to play and not play for us at the moment.
Willie Bolly, 30 years old now.
He's the man, main defender. Yeah.
Kilman, that's probably a big question mark over his future.
I'd keep him, but it looks like he's going, doesn't it? Because he hasn't been playing lately either. Something's gone on there.
I think he's half decent. He's a good player, but really, if we're going to recruit, then that's the sort of player that's got to go.
Morgan Gibbs-White, who apparently wants a baby this week on TikTok.
He can fuck off.
He's crossed the line for me with his TikToks and that.
He's embarrassing.
Yeah, he can go now. He needs to have a look at
Jesse Lingard award.
He needs to have a long hard look at his life, never mind his football career. Anyway, move on before I say something I regret.
Then it comes down to pretty much the 3 loan players, really. Jose, Ain't Nori, Vitinha. I forgot Vitinha even existed.
I like Vitinha.
No,
really like
none
him.
of them, man. They're gone. They're going, all of them, I think. They're not
Wouldn't
signing.
sign any of those.
No. William Jose can't hit the side of Renault Spas, and the other two just haven't really showed it. So
I'd keep Ait Nori, but that's it. I think I'd keep Ait Nori. He's got
20 million.
There might be something there. I know I've joked before and said that he's basically Ruben Vinagre part 2, but
did we actually sell
I think he's
Vinagre? Or
highly
was he on
rated.
loan?
And he's on loan because he
I'd
went
get
to
him back then.
Olympiacos and you'd rather have Vinagre back.
I'd rather have Vinagre than
I'd
Nori. Instead of paying 20 million, I'd rather just get Vinagre back and have him as
We do
backup.
know whatever Wolves do, the players that we let go of will be the best players on earth and the ones we
That is
Adama.
absolutely true.
Well, I think your thing is that you've just read that squad out there, Sam, and just that's just ain't good enough, is it? If you want to get in the top 7 in the Premier League, the depth is just non-existent, and you're pinning your hopes on a 34, 35-year-old centre midfield and playing a defence full of 3 midfielders.
Did you mention
I've
Adama there,
saved.
Sam?
I was going to say I've saved till last the one that looks most likely to come in for some bids, which is Adama Traore. Lots of people saying they'd rip your hand off 30 million.
Are you
People saying
joking?
it's worth way more than that. What are you thinking?
The thing is, though, 30 million, it does sound low, but he hasn't scored and assisted, has he, lately? So would we
He
get any
changed his
more?
game, sorry.
Yeah,
He's got the
doesn't
most
matter.
successful dribbles in
Doesn't
the whole
matter.
of European football.
How can you change a game without getting an assist or a goal if you're an attacking midfielder?
Because lack so much creativity. He's the only person that looks like
What's we creating?
he's put multiple balls in.
He's gone back to the way he was like the year before when we first had him. When he had that good run with Raul, I think that was more Raul than him. He just aimlessly hit balls in the box, I think. And Raul's just read them well because Jose can't get near any of his crosses. He don't look up, does he? He just hits them in and
that's
hopes for the
true,
best.
actually.
He don't.
You have got to have a good striker.
Yeah, I suppose.
I'd keep him. I would do everything we could to see him. And if you think he's worth the same money as Semedo, you're all fucking mad.
Well, I want to keep him. I do want to keep him, but if we'd have sold him like the beginning of this season, we'd have got like 60 million for him. The form he was in at the end of last year.
Easy.
So
You didn't get anywhere near that.
No, I don't think. I mean, I think he wants to go as well because he hadn't signed a new contract or anything, has he? So I think he will leave.
When's his contract run out?
He's got 2 years left, but the Wolves always give him like a new 5-year, don't they? And he's the only one who hasn't like updated his. And he's his agent as well. He's said some things, hasn't he? So
And
I think
finally, John Ruddy. I know we mentioned him before. He's on his way, isn't he? I'd throw him a party, but he'd probably drop it. So there you go. We will say goodbye this week to Harry Mansell,
goodbye, everyone.
Dan Bayliss,
Goodbye, Wolves fans.
and Jack Williams.
Hurrah.
And it's a goodbye from me. Goodbye.